Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? This is Jazz, and I'm here today with you with a big announcement. I'm so nerve-sighted about it. If you don't know that word, it's kind of a new word and it just kind of smushes together being nervous and excited at the same time. So that is what we call nerve-sighted. I heard it from one of a coach and colleague uh, who is in out west for now. So excited about this. Why? Because it's something that is big for me. It's something that is near and dear to my heart. And at the same time, it's because I'm breaking up with the rules and I'm breaking up with the way that things have to be. And by that, I mean, I've been taking coaching training and business training for the past 10 years or so. And I've heard all the shoulds of how things should be and what you should have in your business and the types of programs you should have and everything else. And I'm at the point now where I'm just going to throw it away because frankly, it doesn't work for me and it doesn't work for you. So it's like coming out, breaking up with what was so that I can fully step into what really brings me joy. Because honestly, when I quit my job with the federal government to start my business, it's because I wanted to have fun. I wanted my business adventure to be fun, to be an adventure, to be discovery. I didn't want it to be heavy. I didn't want it to be uh, just like so difficult. So what I did when I broke up with the federal government is that I kind of replicated the same thing in my business. So the same kind of 9 to 5, the same kind of structures, being really strict with myself. Even if I'm teaching my students to do things differently, even if I know better with the archetypes and how to nurture your archetype and be your archetype, secretly within me, I was still the 9 to 5 corporate girl. I'm stepping out of that. I'm saying bye bye. I'm done. Right now, it's time to have fun in this next big adventure. So I'm really happy to share this with you. So, are you ready for this? I'm kind of afraid that I'm going to blank out because when I'm so excited, have you heard of that story of like being the duck or being the swan on the lake? You might seem really calm and graceful. And some people might have that ideation of me that I'm calm and graceful. But let me tell you that under the water, those little paws are going like this, right? So you might not see that, but I'm kind of really nervous inside and I tend to blank out and my words don't come out because it's my spirit that wants to come out and dance. So I'm hoping that you can see that radiance and that passion coming out, even if the words don't make sense. So you're ready for the big reveal. So there are two things, right? So in business, they say to focus only on the one thing, but I got two things coming up. So the first thing, I kind of hinted at it already. It's up right now for the moment. It's going to change just after this live, but I want to work with other entrepreneurs that want to break up with the rules, that really want to be themselves, to honor their archetype and let go of everything else. So that is a soul leadership method. So I've talked about that a little bit earlier. There's a new Facebook group for that. So things are transitioning there. So those are for entrepreneurs who want to break up with the rules and be themselves. So you're welcome to join me there if you want to have an immersive experience and mentoring into how to be you, the art of being you, because we forget. We get just so bogged down in all the shoulds, like I have been, and we need someone else sometimes to just break us out of the mold. So that is the number one thing. But that's not the thing that I'm super nerve-sighted about. The thing that I'm really super nerve-sighted about is, ready for this? Drum roll. Some, if anybody is watching, you can give a heart or a thumbs up or a yay in there if you're a little bit nerve-sighted and you want to know what this is all about. What I am launching as of today, it's ready now. It is a secret society of living goddesses. The Secret Society of Living Goddesses. What is that? What are we going to do in the Secret Society of Living Goddesses? We're going to explore different goddesses in a way that is very grounded and in a way that integrates the goddess life in everyday life. My experience of working with a goddess is that she's very much alive in every one of us. So I want to put to rest the thing that, oh, we're going to be the goddess, and oh, I'm such a goddess, and kind of, it's not about the fluff of calling ourselves a goddess, a warrior goddess, a goddess of this, a goddess of that. Uh, no, that's kind of the fluff. That's kind of the pop culture. I'm not into that. I'm Scorpio rising. I go deep. So I'm not into the fluff stuff of like goddess living. So what this is taking a look back into history and noticing where the goddess was living. So we're going to start with Artemis. Artemis, who is good for goal setting, for instance. So we're going to explore that peninsula, Greece and Italy. We're going to dive into history. We're going to listen to music. We're going to cook food. I love cooking food. I love sharing food. So we're going to share recipe ideas. We're going to maybe co-create some music, co-create some chants, write poetry. Um, we're going to create new rituals so that we can invite the goddess in our life in every day. And as we have fun, as we do arts and craft, as we listen to stories, this is really the old technique of catharsis that the ancient Greeks coined. So catharsis is about, when you watch a movie or when you read a book and you really connect to the characters in that story, and it heals you because you see the story outside of you. It makes you think of what's going on inside of you, and you heal just by participating, by being there, by being through the arts. That is a catharsis. So that's what we're going to do. So it might seem very superficial at first, perhaps, to say, oh, we're going to do arts and craft, and we're going to cook together. We're going to come together as a collective and talk about stories. But really, those stories, they're going to heal you, because as we move through the stories, we're going to heal deep grief. We're going to relearn how we can deal with our grief, because how did the goddesses deal with grief? How did Isis? How did Persephone? How did Demeter? How did these women deal with their grief? And how can we emulate them? How can we call them into our lives so that we know how to deal with our own grief? Same thing with joy, same thing with abundance, same thing with creativity. So there's going to be several themes that we're going to heal within ourselves as we explore the different goddesses. That is the beauty of catharsis. That's what we're going to do in the Secret Society of Healing Goddesses. So I'm looking for people who are ready for this adventure, people who are ready to step out of the common mold. Some people are ready for adventure, for creativity, for trying something new, and people are ready to jump in at a very low investment point right now. And yes, it is not free, because honestly, I am really good at nurturing, at giving you a lot of free content. And then I put myself in a position where I can't pay my mortgage, and that's not good. I need to be able to receive. And there's this idea of an exchange of energy that needs to happen. So there is a small amount to help me pay for the platform, and that retribution, so that I can keep investing in you and keep investing in the collective, because there's going to be so much goodness coming up. There are going to be guest speakers, there's going to be experts, and later on, when borders open, we might actually do trips around the world to see where the goddess actually lived, and have like a lived in, anchored in, earthed experience about the different goddesses. But all that comes with growing the collective and being able to receive as well as give, right? So it's that circulation of energy that happens. So it's a very low investment price to start with, at just about $33 US a month on the platform. I put a link in the description if you want to join me. And it's going to be just a beautiful, beautiful adventure where you get to be true to yourself. I want this to be a sacred circle, a sacred online circle, international circle, where you can come in and be true to you and all your messiness. Because if you have for one moment the impression that goddesses have to be perfect, leave that at the door. Goddesses are not perfect. One of the reasons why I love working with goddesses is because they're not perfect, right? Some other religions, they just go on the perfection, and you have to be, the straight and narrow. The goddesses, they can slide into your life and say, hey, this is life, this is who I am, this is all the messiness happening, this is my big emotion. And so there's space for all of that in the goddess circle. There's space to be you, there's space to be messy, there's space for you to say, you know what, today I'm happy. And this other day, you know what? I'm in the depths of despair. Like Anne of Green Gables would say, I'm in the depths of despair. So there's space for that, for being in the depths. And I want this to be a very nurturing place that we can witness each other. So it's not a place to give advice. It's not a place to should each other. It's not a place to say, oh, you should do this. You should be more this. You should be more that. We're leaving that at the door. There's no space for the shoulds in the secret society. There's space for exploration. There's space to be you. There's space for you to be true to yourself, to feel free to express what's really going on, not what other people, not what you think other people want to hear, but really what's going on for you in the depths of who you are. That's what the secret society is all about. So, are there any comments? I'm not seeing any comments yet. I'm noticing that a few people are looking, and I'm having one thumbs up. I'm not seeing any comments, but I want to know what your first reaction is. If it's something that you'd be interested in joining me on this next adventure. So right now on the platform, so it's a platform that is off Facebook. It's on Mighty Network, so it's off Facebook. So as we join together as a collective, it's very private because only members is going to have access to the content. So that's one way that I'm keeping this very sacred and private. So only members can have access to the special blogs, the special guests, the recipes, the music, the drumming, everything that we're going to do together. Only members are going to have access to that. So again, if you want to come and be true to yourself, it's going to be a very sacred space. The other thing that this platform gives us is that there's no ads. So you're not going to be distracted by 20 other things going on Facebook. When you open the app and you're in the network, it's the only thing going on. Hi, Karen. Oh, I'm glad you're finding that's amazing. I'm so happy you're here. So that's what it's about. So it's very private, no ads, no solicitation. It's just, and it's off Facebook. There's going to be an app. That's a good thing about Mighty Network, is that it's actually an app, so you can download it on your phone, and you have access to that everywhere. The other thing that I'm breaking up with in terms of the business stuff is that I'm not creating a new email list for the secret society of living goddesses. All of the pop-ups that you're going to receive, it's all generated within the app. So you kind of have to check into the app to see. I do believe when you put your email into the app, you're going to receive an email saying that something is new in the circle. But there's honestly, I hate email. It takes me 2 or 3 hours to write emails. And I want to take that off my table, because as much as I love connecting with you, I love conversations. I like this being a two-way street. I like hearing you. I like seeing you. I like having your, the likes, the comments. I love receiving all of that. It nourishes me because that's part of my archetype of being in collaboration. And email, I find, is just kind of one-way thing. I just push information out, and I find it's distancing me from you, and I don't want the distance. I want to be in circle with you. So that's why everything is going to be within that secret society of living goddesses. So yes, I've called that a secret society, even if it's not so much of a secret because, we're sharing it. But it's secret in the way that the work that we do remains within the circle. And we're not public about the deep work that we do together. So, you might not be able to notice another woman who's part of the society just like being on the street, because we're all very normal people, right? We're not going to be dressed in a certain way, or you don't have to all do your hair pink like me, right? Where it's not that type of space. So we come in and we you take what you need from this. So whether it's a recipe, whether it's a process, whether it's a meditation, whether it's a chant, you take what you need, you nourish your soul, you share your experience. Is that place to share your experience, and then you just go out in the world and you be yourself, but changed and transformed and healed a little bit through this. So that's why it's like a secret society. And living goddesses, that part, why that's important for me, is because I want for us to really know and understand that goddesses aren't dead. Goddesses aren't a character in a book, in a mythology that happened 2,000, 3,000, 6,000 years ago. Goddesses are alive now, and they're not alive out there. Goddesses are alive through us. So that's why I say, we're not saying like, oh, I'm a goddess of this, I'm a goddess of that. But no, the goddess is alive through me. And through our daily actions, the way we cook, the way we clean our house, the way we are in a relationship, the way we relate to our inner self, the way we heal, that is the way of the goddess. We allow her to live through us. We allow her to move through us. And that makes it a living goddess. And she's there within you. And she's ready to say hello. And she's ready for you to have that relationship with her. And it's not just her again out there, but it's your own soul. It's your own self. And I'm feeling that I'm becoming quite emotional about this, because I know how life transforming and life affirming being a living goddess, allowing the goddess to live through us, I know how this can change your life. So I want to give you just a few examples of how that changed my life. So most of you don't know that January last year, I was in court because there was, it's nothing super big. But it has to do with our EV, with our EV vehicle. And we took the dealership to court because of things that happened. I'm not just sharing everything. But again, instead of being super nervous about being in court, instead of not knowing what to say, I was able to connect with Athena, who is one of the goddesses of justice, and connecting with that energy of may justice be done, and be very centered into that energy, into the way that I presented the case. And we won the case, which we might not have done otherwise. So like, that's one way. So whatever is going on in your life, there's a goddess for that. So part of the secret society of living goddesses is knowing, learning, not through books, not through your head, but experiential learning. You'll know which goddess is there for what. So then you have all of those tools to help you in whatever life situation you're going through. Is it divorce? Is it your partner that's having an affair? Oh my goodness, goddesses have lots of experience with partners having affairs. They're notorious for that. Is it childbirth? Or is it losing a child? Is it not being able to conceive? Is it having difficulties with a wayward teenager? Is it difficulty with creating more abundance? There's a goddess for everything. We're going to explore all of that. Not all at once, because again, this is not about learning. I don't want you to cram your head with more information. If you're like me, I love to learn. I'm always trying to do new things. But I also know that staying in our heads really blocks us from the truth. Because when we live in our head, we're looking at that perfection. We're looking at the story. We're looking at that utopia, and oh, things would be better if, or the shoulds, or all of that, or I have that beautiful story, and my life is not that beautiful story. And so there's a disconnect between what we think should happen and the way things are. And that makes us stuck, frustrated, unhappy. So I want to get away from that. So the invitation is not to learn more again. So you will learn, but it's to embody, to learn through your heart, to be, to have that experience. So it's going to call on you to be more vulnerable. It's going to call upon you to share what's going on. And it's calling upon you to be okay with not knowing, because I'm not setting a firm agenda for this. This is a come as you are, and this is an unfolding together. We're going to be writing this chapter, this society together. So I'm not directing it, because I know that if I'm directing it, I'm in my head. And that's not where I want to be. I want to be in my heart. And the heart space is about allowing and having trust that the unfolding is going to be okay. So for someone who's a recovering perfectionist, bit of a control freak, you can understand that this is quite a departure, a new adventure for me as well. But we're in this together in the secret society of living goddesses. Also, talking about writing a new chapter, a lot of you have told me, Jazz, when are you going to write that book? Well, part of my purpose also with the secret society of living goddesses is that through our experiences, I'm sure a book will emerge. Again, I'm allowing for the unfolding of this, but I am seeding into the possibility that we're going to write a book. So maybe I'm going to be the only author. Maybe it's going to be something collaborative. I don't know. The goddess will show us the way when we get there. So there's that as well. So how does that feel? I want to know about you. How do you relate to that? Are you ready to join me in this adventure and allowing the goddess to live through you? Are you ready to look into stories not at the superficial level, but at the really cathartic level? Are you ready to write that chapter with me and really stepping into the characters, using your imagination, using your intuition, using your creativity, and heal your life and transform your life, so you can go from a place of perhaps not loving your relationship, not loving your job, not loving yourself, and move that into a place of radical self-love, radical self-acceptance. There's a quote that I saw that I really resonate with, and I'm just going to paraphrase, and I don't know who the author is, so I apologize, but the quote goes something like, in a society that profits from your self-doubt, moving into radical self-love is an act of rebellion. And it's so true. And that's another reason why I am breaking up with the way to do business and marketing. It's because people really profit from that self-doubt. They profit from the pain. And that's not me. I don't want to do that. But I do want to create with you a place where you can feel whole, and you move back into wholeness. You embrace your whole self. You get to love yourself in all of your shadows and in all of your glory. And you can just like walk through life like the goddess and say, hey, this is me. This is who I am. These are my boundaries. These are my dreams. These are my goals. And, being completely free for you to state those big dreams, having no apologies, because you're living from your heart. And you're giving to others from a place of fullness and not from, scraping rock bottom all the time and hoping that you'll be out of that. Together, we will rise. Together, we will heal. Together, we will make a big difference in the world. It is time for me to really source my soul, especially after a year of isolation, a year of so many things in society that have shaken our world to the core. It's time to rise and create a society that's different. And we do that from the inside out. So the more that you change yourself, the more that you shine the goddess from within, the more that you allow her to live through you, that is going to have the ripple effect on the rest of the world. And so those are some of the goals. Good, Karen, you're so ready to be. I hope that you will join me into the secret society of living goddesses. I will post the link again. You will see that on top of the banner on my Facebook page in just a few moments. I'm changing that as well. And it's going to be a fun adventure. It's going to be a fun, fun, fun adventure. Oh, one more thing. Um, oh, yes, being surrounded by so much male energy your whole life. Yes, it's time to call in the goddess within. So, in this goddess society, we're going to be mostly women. A few men might be invited in as well because we are honoring the divine feminine. And once in a while, in the stories of the goddesses, there are males there. But I do not want this to be male dominant. This is really about honoring the divine feminine in all of us. So it's creativity and it's love, it's receptivity. Those are the values. And, oh, special bonus because the key lessons, if you will. So we're kind of really going to start at the beginning of the first Monday of April. But the society is open for registration now. So if you register now and there are 3 tiers that you can register. So for the $33 US, you get all the blogs, the recipes, everything that is given to the entire group. The next tier, which is 111 US, you also get, there's going to be a group call and a group ceremony every month. And the third tier, I can't talk anymore. The third tier, it's so hard for a French Canadian to have those THs. So the third tier is private sessions with me. So that's more expensive, but you do have that private session with me. So if you really want to go deep into your stories and you want to go deeper than what you can do in the group, then we can have private sessions. So you have a choice of 3 tiers. And if you join before the end of March, so you still have 15 days, if you join before the end of March, I will give you an extra goddess reading session. So we're going to look into what is your goddess archetype. And that is going to be so illuminating to have this one-on-one session with me talking about your goddess archetype, because then you're going to know what animates you. What is your archetype? So how do you light up from the inside? You're going to know also how do you process. So because you have 3 archetypes, 3 goddess archetypes. There's one in your mental processes, so one in your head that tells you how you best do your strategy. There's one in your heart that tells you more how you love and how you relate to your emotions. And there's a goddess in your belly that is more centered to your body and your magnetism. So when you know which 3 goddesses are active within you, then you get to know how to talk. You know those times when you have to make a decision and you say, well, my head wants this, but my heart wants this, but my body feels this way. And then you just get confused. Well, when you know what your goddess archetypes are, say, well, like for me, Athena in my head is wanting this, but Sekhmet in my heart is this. So how can I create the common ground for all these goddesses? How can I hear what everyone needs and then make my decision? So again, it's very cathartic, it's very healing, it's very empowering to know who your goddess archetypes are, and it helps you make better decisions in your life. So for everyone who signs up before March 30th, you get that free goddess session with me. And then we really get started in the Secret Society of Living Goddesses at the beginning of April. So would you have any further questions? Pop that in the comments below. Send me a private message. And I'm just so looking forward to getting started with you on this new journey, on this new adventure. This is my heart that's opening up to you, and I hope you will step into this sacred circle with the goddesses towards more healing, more empowerment, more honest self-expression, and joining me in being a rebel and breaking up with the way that we believe things should be, making peace with the way things are, and creating the world, creating our future in a way that's a lot more heart-centered. So I hope you join me. Click the link, get your free goddess reading, and until I see you in the Secret Society of Living Goddesses, I'm giving you a big, big hug from my heart to yours.